Yeah. All right, cool. Let me just grab. All right, and you have your action plan and stuff, right?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, cool. Cool. All right. So this meeting's going to be pretty straightforward. We're just going to be looking at your your analysis and your action plan, and then just think through like how can we make sure that this, like the areas where the students are having the most difficulty, that you actually reach that over the next quarter.
Okay.
All right. So that's the purpose of this meeting, is just basically look through your interim analysis and then try to figure out how to make sure that your action plan is strong enough to fix the negative trends that we see from this analysis. Okay, and so the norms for us, just as we're talking, which I had spoken about in a previous data meeting, the one we had in the Petrus's room, you're in control of student outcomes. We're prepared with all the necessary materials, which you are. Awesome. And we're 100% focused on the data, so we're looking just at the numbers, and we're solutions oriented. So coming up with ideas as to how we're going to fix this. And so the outcome of this meeting will be like going through your action plan and making sure that it's solid so you can implement it in the next coming weeks. All right? All right, cool. So in going through your interim analysis, congratulations with the increases in the MAU, REL, and the SOUP. I notice, especially in the supporting details, that's a really good positive trend. And I think that's very telling of the work that you're doing with your 6th period class. So overall, what does this data tell you? Like, what's happening?
Just in my data tells me like in certain areas that they're improving, but like I get how they're improving in supporting details, but I'm still shocked, like how do you get the supporting detail but missing main idea?
Yeah.
That's what's shocking me. Like, how do they improve at that but don't get main idea? Just in my perspective, I would think I would probably lack in main idea. I mean, be strong in that, but might not be able to support it.
Right, because the supporting takes that much more energy, much more work.
So like, what are you supporting if you don't know? So,
if you don't know what the article is about. Yeah. So definitely, I noticed that, like you were saying, in the top 2 to 3 trends that you want to understand better. One of the things you wrote is, I want to gain a better understanding on how the scholars all perform 10% better on Gen 401 than on Gen 301. Yeah. So again, it's like, how are kids doing the higher level work, but not doing so well on the lower level?
And I don't know how to examine that, because, like, for instance, on Achieve, how I select the articles to go with that, I'm not sure what message gen on Achieve. So I'm like, this sounds, the best fit, I'm going to go with summary.
Right.
I'm not really sure if summary actually tests that.
Right. So what we're going to do is take a look at the passage from the interim analysis, and we're going to take a look at those 2 questions that you said somehow the data is not, somehow the data is confusing. So the passage that has the Gen 401 and the passage that has the Gen 301. Okay. So let me see. From your action plan, from your analysis, the Gen 301 is the first passage, the one that has Jeanette McKendry on the front, question 4.
Okay, question 4.
Yeah. Were you able to read through the passage? Do you need a second to just review it real quick?
This is the one when she's on the boat?
Yeah.
Okay. I can remember it.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So, with that question, it says, throughout the passage, Jeanette's thoughts reveal she is blank. What were your thoughts behind why some students got this right, and then a lot of the students got this wrong? And you put it in your analysis, too. Yeah.
I was like,
on the second page. I think it's on the second page of the at the bottom.
So I put that just reread the question, and then I stated that scholars probably missed this possible type of question because they focused on how the narrator describes what is happening to the main character. This is the reasoning for picking J over the correct answer F. Because F states that almost delirious and uncertain about her survival. They wasn't like really focused on what that meant in a sense of, because since she's up and like she's telling the story, so that's what they focus on, that she's talking. So how can it be that she's delirious and not out of it? So that's what I thought they may have tripped up on.
Yeah, I thought the same thing too. That must be it. Like her sentences are normal sentences. It's not like she's saying all this random stuff. Like she's having real, like regular, grammatically correct thoughts. So yeah, definitely. So that one was the Gen 301 question. And then we could look at the Gen 401, which is the article with the Sphinx.
And that's question 13.
And then, so what was your reasoning behind this one? The passage indicates that a small town was built for workers, constructing the Sphinx.
I might have to go back to this.
Yeah, that's okay. I think the correct answer is B.
Yeah, B. Laborers had a place to live because the project took so many complete years, and they put.
Do you remember what they put?
They Gen 401. Did I skip it?
Yeah, even if you can't find the answer choice that that a lot of them chose, like why would a lot of them miss B, do you think?
Based on, I think they missed B because they were focused on like the building of it. They weren't thinking of like, oh, you know, this is where they're staying, because it actually states that we stayed here. So they basically blatantly looked over that and not paying attention to, you know, the specific details that the story is actually giving them.
Yeah.
So that's how they mixed that one.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I thought that too. I was like, when I read through it, I was like, oh, this was such a simple event in the art. Like, the article is about way more than just this question, right? Like, this question is like a really simple one for us, but like, you'd have to really go back through the reading to find the answer.
Yeah, and that's what I told them, was talking to them about, like, I had to be honest, like, I read this too, and I did read it twice, like, wait, what is this talking about?
Yeah. So what do you think kids, like, even just looking at the Gen 301 and Gen 401, like, overall, what do you think the kids need to do in order to get to the right answer, do you think?
With them, I believe they need to learn how to, like, weed out. They're not, like, eliminating what's, like, stated there and what's versus, I guess, what's implied. And I think that's what they struggle with. And I guess, like, especially when it gives you a certain place to look at. Just go to that place and narrow down of what this is saying about that topic. Yeah,
so like finding the paragraph that has to do with that information, and then going through the answer choices. Yeah, definitely. Because I think with the Gen 401, that all they had to do was find the section in the text that had to do with the laborers. With Gen 301, like where it says, like the answer says almost delirious, right? And in the passage, doesn't she ask herself that?
Yeah, it describes what delirious would be.
Yeah, she says it must be just 2 days, she thought, or I would be delirious or something. But even I think, and that's what, line 35. I think even there, that might also make the reader think, like, oh, maybe she's fine, because she's even questioning whether she's delirious or not. Yeah. So for Gen 301, what do you think the kids would need to do in order to get to the right answer?
Oh, and Gen 301 is mostly like, I believe off the top of my head, is making simple conclusions and generalizations
Yeah.
to each other about the characters and I guess their surroundings. Whereas, so my task would be, I guess, to teach them how to even do that. Because I believe 401 is complex. It's the same thing, but in a more, I guess, implied sense. Not there, they have to do more hunting for that.
Yeah.
So that would be, I guess, my struggle begins. I don't know technically how to teach that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All right, cool. So let's go right into that then. So let's focus then on Gen 301 because that's the one you said like the kids got 401 but didn't get 301, which is kind of crazy. So we could focus on that standard. All right. So I noticed in your small group instruction, you put draw simple generalizations and conclusions about main characters. Tell me about your plan for that small group. Like, what were you just in general thinking of doing?
Like so far, like with the one I submitted to you recently with the character chart, I had them list down, each character and what. In each box we had something about how they looked or things they might say.
Yes.
And in each one, I had them also include the relationships between them.
Yeah.
So that I thought that maybe that would help in them in keeping track of characters and what the character is going through. So that way they can link up or when I went back and said what does this mean about Amara, describe her. So I guess to make generalizations or conclusions about them based on what we've read so far.
Yeah, I think the chart that you have, like that has them list out the different characters and like what's going on with the character, I think it's a really good way to organize their thought. So like possibly, so what do you think you could do? So you did it once with the class. Like, are you going to continue to do it? What?
I'm trying to think of like how to build upon it. Like go back and just read it again. Not read it again, but read the next chapter and continue on. Like obviously meet some new people and just building off, asking more questions to see how our people have changed. I don't know if I wanted to like
the characters. How the characters changed.
And,
okay.
Because we're just now beyond chapter 2, and then they'll have the same one, and then just flip it over, like write it out themselves, and add additional. And then we'll have the conversation, like, what can we say about them now versus what happened in chapter 1. Even though it's one chapter from another, has there been any change? What can we say about them?
All right. So yeah, that sounds good. Why don't we? Since we're gonna stick to this standard, I should have put it in here. Why don't we write out some of the questions that you can do for the next, I guess for the upcoming chapter.
Okay.
So you said, I don't know, you're going to take the notes in your laptop? Do you want to? Yeah. That's a cute journal. Definitely keep track of everything that we do.
Okay. So.
All right, so you had... What did you have in the first worksheet? It was the character's name?
Yeah, I can pull that out.
Yeah, that would be cool.
You mind if I get it?
Yeah, no, go ahead. Or is it in the computer? Do you want to email it to me?
Oh, no, I do have it on the computer.
Yeah, you can email it to me. I'll pull it up right here.
I forget that I'm tired to this.
Welcome to Mushin.
I forget about this. I get it right here.
Okay. Okay, yep. Yep. Okay. So, this is personal. Yeah, this is really good. What do you think you'd want to add on here for the next chapter?
Would it be like just, could I just like use this and then ask those questions, or how will be?
Yeah, like, so the kids can still fill this out, right? So like they already doing the thinking, like personally, but then also on this paper. And then yeah, what type of questions would you want to come up with?
It would be, I guess, how one actually what differences do we see in compared to in the not what
like between the upcoming chapter and the
yeah.
So I don't know what chapter number you want.
We're on chapter 2 because we just did the first chapter because I did it with 2 separate groups.
Yeah, so I think you could definitely do that. So like compared
to chapter 1.
Mm-hmm.
What differences do we see, or changes in the characters?
Mm-hmm. Do you want it? Is it all 4 characters, or do you want it to be like?
I think I want to, because just from my own, from knowing, because I don't think I'm personally on chapter 12, that it actually say differences in Amari, or what do we know about her additionally?
Sure.
Or any additional information.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a really good open-ended question. And then I think like you can also create a question that's like this multiple choice one. So like throughout chapter 2, Amari, I don't know, you could come up with it like the author reveals that Amari is blank, and then you create answer choices that are similar to what's here. So like the simple conclusions, which would be the correct answer, versus like, and then you just twist the correct answer to mean like, I guess the opposite. So like, for example, here the correct answer was that she was delirious, whereas what kids chose was the opposite.
Yeah.
She was aware and comfortable.
Okay.
So like come up with multiple choice that has like both sides, I guess, of that character's thoughts and actions to see like if they're getting the generalization.
Okay.
You could try it out and then just see how it works with the kids.
Okay. Also, I was thinking, like, just based on like knowing what happens, because I guess I kind of feel like they don't build off what they've already read. Like they have trouble like predicting what would happen next if this happens. So I'm thinking like what other questions that I can keep them engaged in the reading.
Like based on Amari, so I'm thinking like based on what you already know about Amari or Kwasi, like based on what you know about them, like what would they do if, and then create like the multiple choice questions that, or create like options for them to write about. So like basically how would Amari deal with a situation based on what you know about her?
And this could be either a multiple choice or open-ended.
Yeah, I mean even for that one it could be open-ended. So I would say come up with like 2 multiple choice and then 2 open-ended, and then do it in the small group that way.
Okay.
Yeah. And like, so the kids have to constantly refer back to this character chart.
Okay.
I think that would be good. Yeah, so, yeah. Awesome.
I should also share with you what I did with Oscar.
Sure.
I didn't do the chart with him. I did something different.
Oscar Maldonado?
Yes.
Okay. Are these his worksheet is a little bit different, you're saying?
Yeah, I did
Why?
actually give him the he did get the characters the chart,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't do the summarized sheet with him. I just
Okay.
gave him questions to track.
Yeah.
So
Okay. I'm opening it up now. Did not open up. Wait. Oh. I have the wrong. Okay. Why? And this looks good. I'm just wondering why. What made you choose to do this with him?
I'm talking with Miss Hercules about him, and she said that basically he can read, anything. Like he knows the words. It's just that his comprehension of it. What did you read?
Yeah. So his fluency is good, but comprehension needs to work.
So and I really found that we just read it, and he's like, no, I don't know. So
yeah,
it clarified that he needs questions like that versus just write me a summary about what it was to get an understanding of what he got out of it.
So in this quarter, what are you going to do for him a little bit more in your lessons?
Like I said, for him, just tweaking it more one-on-one. Because instead of him being in the group, I do with him one-on-one.
Sure.
And just making more of a understanding questions for him, making sure that he understands what's going on, versus him just overall. What you get out of it, he needs to really be walked through detail by detail.
Yeah, he needs to focus on the detailed standards. Cool. Is that in your action plan?
Yeah, because I learned that after we
Sure.
submitted.
Sure. All right. Can you tell me a little bit more about your action plan, or what else you were thinking of? So we already said you're gonna add. Those questions, the 2 multiple choice and the 2 open-ended. And then for Oscar, you said you're going to work more individually with him. Is there anything else from your action plan that you think you want to try out for this quarter?
Again, like I said, I now input it for my kids on Achieve. You saw the sheet right there. They have to write down their score so they see it on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that would help pushing them trying to get to 75.
Yeah. Is that their quiz score?
Yes, it's a quiz score, what they achieve on there. And now with my kids on Real Life, I go back, even so I had them writing the words in their retail.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of just tell me which words did you use, I made them define and tell me, so what does that word mean?
Yeah.
So, and I think that also continues to help with why they probably improved on meaning a word.
Yeah.
Because they now they have to explain it.
Cool.
So just continuing with that.
Cool. Yeah. All right. This looks good. All right. So what I will look forward to, if you can do this by Friday, would be great. Or just send me a draft of what you have. So add the The question types, just add what we talked about to your action plan. So the questions, and then also what you're going to do. You can update what you're going to do specifically with Oscar on your action plan, and then just if you could email it to me by end of day Friday, that would be good. Is that reasonable?
Yeah, that's reasonable. So just update for the small group section of creating these type of questions. Okay.
Yep. Okay. Excellent. And also with Oscar.
With Oscar. Okay.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. So I guess just overall thinking back to this and like what you're gonna do in the next few weeks, what are your takeaways from looking at all this data?
Just looking at it, that I do see improvement in it, and just like overall trying to see why, why would you perform, how could they perform higher on higher standard, but the one standard before it, how did they perform 10% less, and just find out ways to bridge that gap so that they meet up, like so that the data can make sense.
Yeah.
And just finding different ways to tweak it to help each student as versus like how I did with Oscar.
Okay, why don't you take
taking them out, just finding different ways to.
You got to individualize the approach. Yeah.
So, I have them all at once, but I need to know, I need to take this person out. I was even thinking I might not do Oscar by himself, but see how it might work if I put Kari in it, because he was in a small group and everybody else had left, but he was like still working. So I think I might try working with them together a little bit and see.
I was thinking of moving Kari to a math only class, just because the math teachers had said like he needed lots of help with that. What do you recommend? Do you think he should be in the math only class?
Well, I will have to go back and look at his stuff more inclusive in 2 weeks, so just to see. But just going off the small group, it was like kind of slow process of getting it.
Yeah, he's like that. Like even in the halls, like he's just he takes a very long time.
Yeah, so like I don't know if it's because he doesn't get it or just he needs that time to do it. So not sure. Awesome. And then so what is your big goal for the next interim assessment? What are some of the changes you expect to see? Like what type of growth in the kids? Well, I would like to see them like at least, like 1 to 2 points like in these areas. Like I'm trying to combat using Gen and main idea, because whereas main idea was even from last interim struggling with. So, and that's why I was saying like teeter tired on them both and not just waiting until one improved and moving on to the next.
Yeah.
So like this week, which I was gonna get to it, doing main idea, and then next week going back to like the book and doing the Gen.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine, because I noticed in here you put that both the Gen and the main idea went down like significantly. So yeah, I think that's a good plan. All right, so what are your next steps? What's the next thing, or
so my
what you got to take care
next steps is to, let me actually write that down when I'm saying it, to update my data plan with info on my the small group, and to I guess just to my next step is to, in small group, hopefully this week, to introduce main idea again to them, and then following week to do Gen.
Yep.
Same central idea, and using like the strategies that we don't have.
And Oscar.
Yep, and Oscar too.
So they were all.
All right. Awesome.
Will we? As I know, the last 2 times that we had, or there was no 6th period, is that the same for this time, or? Because 5th period ends at 4:15, and that's when our class starts.
When?
Tomorrow. Because I know the kids are going to ask.
Let me check in with him and just see what she wants to do. Did we cancel it the last time?
Yeah.
I feel like we did, because there just isn't enough time to like.
Yeah, because once it ends at 4:15, our class starts at 4:15.
Yeah, we'll probably cancel it, because by the time they get to your class, it'd be like, what, 4:20? Start like around 4:25. could cancel it. All right. Okay. I'll send out an email. It's 3:12 now. I'll send out an email before 4 o'clock, so you'll know before you go to your 6th period class whether or not we'll cancel tomorrow.
Okay.
All right. All right. Cool. Thanks, Ms. Anderson.
And by Friday.
Yeah. By the end of the day.